Hi, it's Kevin Gale, Editor-in-Chief of South Florida Business and Wealth, and with me is Greta Schultz. Greta has done a lot of training with us here at SFBW and Lifestyle Media Group. Greta, tell us a little bit about your new book, or the second edition, I should say.
Yeah, well, the first book, of course, was To Sell Is Not to Sell, and that was about 5 years ago. So now, I'm looking to do a second edition. I wanted to add some things, and that should be coming out very soon.
So what's different in this book? I mean, it's been a while, so I would think some things have changed. What did you want to get across to people about what's different now?
You know, it's interesting. I think, from the difference between 5 years ago and now, the economy has really changed. People are looking at things differently. And I think one of the things that I concentrated more on is, first of all, there's some additional tools in there that there wasn't before. But even that, I think what's really important is now that we're a little bit more back on track, how do we sell consultatively? Why isn't the old way of selling working? And I think today people are spending their money, but I think most of us in the business world that went through that whole economic downturn, I think they really, even though things have gotten better, I think they're looking at them more carefully. So how do we still proceed properly in selling and doing it right with things turning back up?
You can't be just an order taker. I think a lot of people figured that out during the recession. So tell me also, was there a certain thing that said, gosh, I need to really update this book? Was there a certain thing that popped in your head and say, all right, this is the tipping point?
This is the time. I think a lot of it was that, during that tough time, people were just struggling to stay above water. And I wanted to make the point so hard that if you're going, things are going to turn around, and we all knew they were going to, but as you're getting back out of this, let's do things right. So what I did in this one is I put a lot more emphasis on how to hire the right people, how to interview the right people, what to look for. And I think that's really important, because I think we all know that when you have the right people on the bus and in the right seats, as they say, I think that's so important, but I think it couldn't be more important than today, because if you have the right people that's hired right away and trained properly, there's almost no stopping with what's going forward. So I emphasized a lot more on the hiring and getting your team together and managing your team. Then I also talked a little bit more about sales process. Before I did a lot of articles and things that I had written and I put them together. It was a conglomeration of that. I still have some of that, but it's a little bit more of an instructional book and gives you more tools and things to walk away with. And I thought that was important.
So if you got the first edition, you really want to get this one, because there are some new useful things in there. Talk a little bit about hiring, because that seems to be really critical. I know it's often difficult to find really good salespeople. So give a tip on that might be in the book on how to get the right salespeople.
Okay, it is really important, and I think I'm going to give a tip by starting with a negative. Most of us, when we're looking for a new salesperson, what we do is we say, oh gosh, I need somebody in this particular territory, in this particular area. We go out there, we look at resumes, and we look on Monster or something like that, and we look for people that aren't working. Generally, and this is a generalization, but it's fairly true, salespeople that are good are not without jobs very long, if at all. So one of the tips are, don't look when you need, look all the time, because good salespeople are very difficult to find. You often have to pull them away from another organization. For you to do that, you have to have your mind on that all the time. So one of the things I would recommend is, remember, a good salesperson is an asset, not a liability. So if they're an asset, you want to look for those all the time and not only when you need them. So I think that's a huge tip. And the other thing is, there are things that we look for in salespeople that are probably also wrong. We look for somebody who's outgoing, who knows how to slap you on the back, who's really friendly. That not only is not what to look for, sometimes that hurts us more than it helps us. We need somebody consultative, inquisitive, question asking, people that really want to learn about someone and then figure out what they truly need. A really solution provider, as opposed to just somebody who's selling them what they have.
Is that the biggest challenge for salespeople these days, is understanding how to do that process, and what are some of the other challenges they're facing?
I would say the biggest challenge is that, especially if they've grown up in an environment of go out and sell, sell, sell. Well, selling isn't about what you do to somebody. Selling is about learning and then putting what you learned that they're looking for and what you have and making a match. That's truly what it is. But salespeople that have been in the field a while, they've been pushed by seniors that don't understand it, saying go out and sell, sell, sell. So they go out and they pitch.
Right.
And that's really so hard to get them out of. But really, pitch is for baseball, not for sales.
I like one of your techniques is you're always saying it's okay to say we're not sure if we're the right fit for you. Let's explore this a little bit. And I think that's a great entree into the consultative approach that I've seen you teach people, which is really great. So to wrap up here, tell us about some of the top takeaways you want people to get out of the book.
Okay, so I think like we talked about, I think hiring is going to be a big one, really a big one. Managing salespeople properly. You know, most of us manage the way we parent, believe it or not. You know, we do that. Why do I do it? Because I said so, right? And managing truly is a difference between leadership and management. Leading people to find their own way is a much more effective way of doing it. I wish I knew that about raising kids. I would have raised my kids differently, but you know, I think that's really important.
Right.
Learning an actual process in selling, using your own words, your own style, but using a process is important. And one of the things that I think is cool about this book is people wanted tools. Like, even in my last book, they'd say, well, how do I do that? Or what do I do here? So what I do is I have 12 downloadable items that are in there. I have some cheat sheet cards, I have documents, I have videos, I have all sorts of things that you can download for free and get those extra tools. That's what I didn't have last time, and I think people really, really wanted that. So that's kind of exciting.
Well, Greta, that's really great to hear about your new book. I appreciate all you do for our magazine. It's great having you as a columnist here, and if anybody wants to look at sfbwmag.com, you can see some of Greta's columns on our website.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.